And welcome back, everyone, to WCCF Talks Gaming. This is episode 24, and we've been talking about Cyberpunk for quite some time, but it's out. So we've got Chris, Alessio, and Kai, or maybe Fabio, filling in as Kai, and giving us some of his opinions on other things. But we've also got more than just Cyberpunk this week. We've got the Video Game Awards have taken place, and everybody but me has a pretty good idea of what games were announced, so I think it would be prudent, since we've talked so much about Cyberpunk, if we started today's conversation off around the topic of what's upcoming and what maybe everybody's most excited about that was announced at the Game Awards. We're going to let Alessio kick this one off, since he's the big man, knows all the games, and he can fill us in.
They're called the game advertisements.
You ain't wrong.
Well, if you want, we can start by talking a bit about the winners of the awards, actually, before...
Me, Evil Dead. It's got
Evil Dead's not out yet, Chris. What
Yeah, I still won because they've announced it.
Oh, Lord. So let's hear, what were some of the big winners? I know there was like 100 plus categories that awards were given away in.
Maybe not 100, but yeah, there were lots of categories. But in the end, The Last of Us Part 2 won the Game of the Year award, and also won a bunch of other awards like Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, Best Audio Design, Best Performance.
Most crunch in a game.
And there were also other games that won in, for example, two categories, like Hades won Best Indie and Best Action. Among Us won Best Mobile and Best Multiplayer. So yeah, there were a few big winners. Of course, Half-Life Alyx won the Best VR game,
as it should have,
and Final Fantasy VII Remake won the Best RPG. So yeah, overall not unsurprising. And as a note, of course, Cyberpunk wasn't considered because they have a policy that basically games that release in December are not considered, since they make the show in early December. So it's basically too late for them to be considered this year, and they will be considered next year.
So we know what's winning everything next year.
Yeah.
Game Awards have always brought up a very interesting point of contention that I always see people with. We know they're advertisements left and right, but at least the awards and the winners and such. One of the most interesting arguments that I keep seeing is people debating on whether or not remakes or sequels should be considered for a lot of these things.
Sequels, yes.
Sequels, yeah, I would say I'm personally fine with the sequels because they are a new game, they are a continuation, and quite honestly, some sequels they're either going to be better, worse, or the same, so they stand on their own merits.
Yeah,
as a game itself. But the remake one, that makes for a very interesting discussion.
I suppose it's a bit weird with Final Fantasy VII because as much as it's called a Final Fantasy VII remake, a correct title would be Final Fantasy VII Reimagining.
I would agree. I would definitely agree with that statement.
But I'll be honest, when it comes to the game, I will call them by the correct name this time. When it comes to the Game Awards, I always find that it's the same as the Oscars for films. It's not really down to what the fans like the most. It's down to what sounds better on paper and who's back scratching who's back. And it's just, I don't really think the Game Awards, the Oscars, or any award show truly captures what is the best or what isn't the best. I've always thought that.
That's a hard thing to hit, because I've seen the argument that the Game Awards, like the group, makes for why they don't go audience choice.
I can understand not going audience choice, but I would...
Somebody's got to make the decision.
You need to bring people in who aren't part of such a close, tight-knit group. It wouldn't be a bad for once. It wouldn't be a bad idea to involve other mediums inside video games. The video games industry wants so much to involve the film industry. Bring on Spielberg as a part of the board for the Game Awards, or bring on Guillermo del Toro because he does love video games.
So you're saying for narratives. So the best narrative. Bring in
even visual effects, because again, films rely so much on it. And for narrative, you could bring in an author, an actual
or a group,
an author.
A group of. I mean, I could see that the logistics of that would be so difficult to pull off.
I don't think it really would be too difficult, because in the recent film, in the Venice Film Festival, they had Hideo Kojima as one of the panelists for the VR Game Awards.
That's fair enough.
It's not difficult to get somebody from, again, as just bring somebody who is at least familiar with video games. Guillermo
del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro is very interested in video games, so there's no reason why he wouldn't be.
That's true.
If you just said to him, like, "Do you want to sit on this panel and choose a few nominees?" Yeah, crack on.
Well, at any rate, on the remake thing, I agree with Chris that Final Fantasy VII is a bit of a. It's different. Yeah, I mean, for example, if you compare it with Demon Souls, which is the other big remake which it this year,
that is a remake.
Yeah, I mean, Demon Souls is basically the same game. It just looks a lot better, sounds better, and whatever, but it is the same game. Final Fantasy VII Remake is quite a bit different. For example, it has action combat, which the original didn't, of course. So I'd say it's totally fair to include it in this year's awards. And also,
oh, go on. Sorry.
Oh, just wanted to say that personally, I agree with The Last of Us 2 winning the overall awards with these nominees, because, as I said in a previous podcast, I think it's in terms of narrative as linear games go, it's just incredible. So
I haven't gotten to play it, so I can't speak to it.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, I certainly can appreciate that.
Kai can tell something. No,
I just want to start off by saying that Yakuza was absolutely robbed for best RPG of the year.
Yes. You know what? I'm going to agree with you there. I love Final Fantasy, but Yakuza, yeah.
And the reimagining of Final Fantasy is essentially an action game with a little bit of like RPG stats in there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's...
It isn't true RPG like Final Fantasy used to be.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, you guys were talking about, Oscar awards and stuff. You guys fail to remember that there's a whole genre of films out there called Oscar bait films. You're looking at stuff like 7 Pounds and whatnot. Yeah.
That's what Last of Us 2 is. It's an award bait game.
Yeah, like it's impressive for its technical achievements, but absolutely they are trying to do what they can to hit those right marks for so many awards.
Interesting. See, like I said, I haven't played the game. I mean, I've heard plenty about it. But
on both
sides. Just spend 5 minutes in our comments, and you'll definitely see more than you want to know about Last of Us.
But the truth is, it's like I said, it's a game. So, like, the game has, for me to have a real opinion on it, I have to really kind of be hands-on. Like, I loved the original Last of Us, and I started off not liking it because, like, the first hour and a half of the game, I was like, this is kind of bleh. And then after I, kept playing it, I was like, okay, now I'm into the characters and stuff. So,
yeah. I mean, you cannot not be into these characters, I think. So, I mean, it's...
It depends on the
I've
character.
I've heard so many people that I know and respect in this community, including you guys, who have such a... I've not met anyone that is on the fence with Last of Us Part 2. They either are going to tell me that it's a great game, or they're going to say, nah.
I'm not on the fence. It is the games are great, but it's like not every single character. It's like again, everybody looks at Joel and thinks of him like super character. It's like not really.
Well,
There is a bit of a dissonance with the characters and the story.
Well, one of the
But
things
again,
I was gonna say, what I kept
Naughty
getting,
Dog aren't that great at writing stories. They never have been.
they make great set pieces.
Yeah,
for
that's what they
things
do.
to
That's what I was
play
gonna
out.
say.
They one of the things that I was the way it was told to me was the first game, the characters, all of the characters you interact with feel like they carry considerable weight, whereas in Last of Us Part 2, they are they're narrative fodder. They're nothing more than a means to get to the next scene.
I don't know.
I said I can't. I haven't played it. I can't speak to it. But that's what I'm saying.
Honestly, I think that since the first game had people so attached to certain characters, it's
Certain
like
ones,
in certain TV series or movies, and where basically people become fans of these characters, and then if they are not treated as they'd like in the sequels, then they go boom.
Yeah, I understand that. I
I-
understand that. But
I've
at
walked
the same
away from
time,
shows.
It's like, yeah, I do fully understand that, but it's like people will. It's always hard because people make this link, and it's not just there. Just then, it's like people always make the link saying, like looking at films and TV shows with characters, but The Last of Us is not film or TV quality in the storyline. Neither are the characters, or not completely. Certain elements are getting to that standard, but I'm more attached to Jason Bourne than I am any character in The Last of Us.
I mean,
Which is
as far as I don't know, a couple of weeks back, you hadn't even played the first one. So
I know. Well, it was about 3 weeks back, but I played it when I had a few days downtime.
So
all right.
that's kind of the the games that have come in past. But what about the things that they announced during the advertisements? I mean, the trailer reveals. I mean, the game reveals.
Space again, and Left 4 Dead again.
Yeah.
You mean Back 4 Blood?
Yeah, Left 4 Dead 3. I mean, Back 4 Blood 2. I mean, 4-player co-op zombies.
You know, when I saw the trailer
Yeah.
for that, I was like, which knockoff is this? And then I found out it was like, the same team. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
I'm taking the piss. I think it's going to. He's from the same team. I've got hopes for it. So it's one of those that I'll end up playing because, again, they're a good developer, and it's not like they're ripping off Left 4 Dead. They created it, and they're expanding on it by making like weird big arm mutation things and God knows what else.
Well, yeah. Basically, I don't know how much they are going to improve in terms of gameplay formula.
Yeah.
So hopefully they have some innovations there.
Rinse and
They-
repeat.
Yeah, I'm
they
hoping
haven't.
there's some sort of like persistent progression like they're gonna have in that Warhammer Darktide.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I was kind of giving that game a little crap too when I watched the preview, and I was like, "Oh, look, it's Vermintide in space," and then it was like Warhammer. I was like, "Oh, well, that fair enough. It makes sense." It's... and I was like, "I'll play it." Vermintide 2 was fun. It's on Game Pass
Yeah.
too. You know,
I suppose. I mean, the game I've already mentioned it. The game I'm looking forward to is Evil Dead, but at the same time, I can see that game not doing well.
I want to play it, but I don't think it's going to be that great.
I want to play it. I'm going to play it. It has got Bruce Campbell, and if something has
Hell.
Bruce Campbell, I am in.
Hail to the king,
There's two
baby.
like Sean Bean and Bruce Campbell. I'm in. That's it's like, and you put those two actors in anything, and I'm there. But the
Okay.
Evil Dead game, it looks like that. Was it Friday the 13th where you had four
Yes.
human players against one Freddy?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's another game that failed. And this looks like it's 4 human players versus the Deadites, which again, so in other words, it looks like Left 4 Evil Dead.
Yeah, it does. I thought it was a
So-
mod or something at first, like an expansion to
Yeah.
something, or like a character pack.
Interestingly, there will be also PvP. It says
Ah.
take control of the powerful Kandarian demon to Antash and his friends.
So yeah, it's Left 4 Evil Dead. So instead of taking control of the tank in Left 4 Dead, you're just controlling the fucking demon
Yeah.
that goes, "I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul."
If I don't get to swallow a soul in that game, I'm gonna be very angry. Speaking of souls and swallowing and all that jazz, the Callisto, is it the Callisto Protocol?
yeah,
The one that reminded me so much of like Dead Space.
Yeah, I love Dead Space.
I do
yeah. Well,
too.
Okay, I love
There
1
is.
and 2.
there is a reason for that. In that, basically, this game is made from two of the main creatives of
Oh.
Dead Space. So yeah,
And that-
Glenn,
Games?
Glenn Schofield and
I'm in.
Visceral Games.
Sign
I'm
me
in.
up. So it is Visceral Games is doing it.
oh, Visual Games is dead.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I
died.
thought they died.
Yeah, of course, but the developers didn't, luckily. And so it is actually being made by a company under PUBG Corp, or Krafton, as it is called nowadays, because
Yeah.
they found Striking Distance, which is a new studio under this banner. And, technically, they had said they were making a game in the PUBG universe, although I'm not really seeing it from this trailer.
I hope it
And,
doesn't turn into.
See, I don't get
Well,
how it's going to be the PUBG universe.
hold on,
'cause
hold
what
on,
is
let-
the PUBG universe?
Look. No, well, they said they had to turn PUBG into like a narrative game. So the idea in PUBG is you get dropped into a world and you have to survive.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
So you drop the character into this area. They have to find, craft. It's a survival game. At its core, PUBG is a survival game. So
Well, the same as any
I agree.
battle royale. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you make it a single player kind of narrative game, it's a survival horror, which sounds like something that's already been.
But also, this is set in like in the far future and away from Earth. So it's
It's in the same universe as PUBG, but
No,
it's
no,
a
no.
completely
I don't-
different genre, set in a completely different part of the galaxy, and
a completely different time.
Hold on.
in.
Yeah, I'm in, but the article that I'm reading is like the thoughts about
it's so,
I don't know.
I think honestly, by the sounds of it, they've just said it's part of the PUBG universe, just so they can say put on the box part of the PUBG universe, and somebody might think, "Oh my god, I like PUBG. I will buy this now."
Yeah, but
maybe
one
PUBG is
extra
like
copy.
Lost. PUBG is in one of these characters' dreams. It's not actually happening.
That's
But,
it. You've figured it out.
but they've said they are setting out to make one of the most terrifying games of all time. So that's a lofty claim, and we'll see.
Yeah.
It's like the
Well-
bar's too high there. Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
Bar's too high.
Well, speaking of bars
bar-
being high, is there anything else real big that come out of the Game Awards before we move into the coup de grace, the big
There was
talking
that
point?
dragon
So,
game.
There was,
BioWare.
BioWare, which
Yeah,
Another some dragon game.
we'll see when that.
Dragon Age.
Look,
Oh, and
Also-
an unannounced, untitled Mass Effect game.
look.
Mhm.
Dragon Age, Mass Effect. I'm just gonna let them come out and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
Um,
the tragedy that was Andromeda, and then Anthem.
I enjoyed Andromeda. I finished
I'm not
it.
saying Andromeda was bad. It was just buggier than a $2 hooker.
I'll tell you where some
Yeah.
bugs are. We'll get to those later. I found the
Yeah.
bugs, buddy.
It's,
think-
yeah.
As long as they don't overpromise again, I think they'll be in a good place. I think if they were more, I think outside of the bugs, Andromeda's biggest falling was
Overhyped.
yeah, it was overhyped. It was oversold. And you guys remember, I miss a lot of the hype side of stuff on a lot of things. I have a bad habit of just buying a game the day it comes out and just sitting down and playing it, and then go, I don't know what everybody's complaining about. And then I go, oh, I see. Ooh, yeah, they were right. They shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, but I think this is a great way to actually game, because if you follow every single news or rumor, and
you're
then
gonna end up being brokenhearted.
Yeah, I mean, it's normal for things to change during development. So
I will say there are a few other games that were advertised or announced or whatever you want to call it that looked interesting to me. I mean, obviously we've got, you'd be remiss in saying not mentioning Perfect Dark.
Yeah,
it's a big franchise. What's going to happen with it? Who knows? It's the initiative though, so it's got a decent developer behind it.
We'll see.
Yeah, they hired a lot of veteran developers from across big studios. So
yeah,
it will be great to have Joanna Dark back. We don't have a lot of spy themed games, actually.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I mean, and then like, gonna mention a few smaller games here though. Everybody knows I'm a fan of the strategy games, the Endless Legend, Endless Space. Sega and have announced Endless Dungeon, so a dungeon crawler set in the Endless universe. And if Amplitude have just been knocking the ball out of the park, whatever they make, anybody who knows, they make fantastic strategy games with Endless Legend, Endless Space, but they also made Dungeon of the Endless, which was a bit of a tower defense dungeony crawler thing, and that was fantastic. So, Endless Dungeon, that's certainly one to keep your eyes out on. And then the Studio Wildcard who made Ark?
Yeah.
I was just about to mention talking about overpromising there with that bullshot trailer.
Yeah.
I know bullshot when I see it.
But they've got Vin Diesel.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and his sad belly button.
Oh God!
But Vin is a true.
Have they ever finished the original Ark?
No, they never will.
But to be fair, I don't think Ark is actually the biggest offender when it comes to the studio. Ark, they updated it a lot, so there is a lot of content.
Yeah, they certainly did. I'll agree with you. I think the issue was with Ark is they released an expansion while they were still not finished the game. That
they were selling an expansion while they were still in alpha.
Yeah, it's like, with this game's in alpha, we will develop it, but here's some more content for you to buy.
And here's Atlas.
Are we doing this right?
Yeah, Atlas. That was like a huge disappointment because they were promising a lot, basically a huge MMO, and that was a disappointment. But something that was interesting is that they're also making the animated series of Ark, and it has some really, really big names. I mean,
that's true.
For example, David Tennant, Carl Urban, of course, Vin Diesel, and Gerard Butler, Jeffrey Wright.
It's got so many big names in it, but Ark is such a... I can't finish that sentence without swearing.
It's streamer bait.
Yeah, I bought it when it first came out. I refunded it because it was shit. Then I bought it again, and
because you were told it was fixed.
Yeah. Then I bought it again. I played it for about 2 days with a few friends, and then I couldn't refund it, even though it's still shit. And it's like, and they've released more content, what they want people to buy. Now they're releasing a second game. They're paying Vin Diesel to be in the game. They're making an animated series. They're obviously spending a shitload of money that people have spent in alpha, which they've still not finished. Finish your fucking game.
This is the one they're going to finish.
Oh, and by the way, there's a new Ghosts and Goblins coming out.
Hell yeah, there is. Talk about good
Yeah?
remakes.
Yeah, and also the Elder Scrolls Online is going to Oblivion.
Yes, I was going to mention that because I know how much you like ESO. I need to play
Yeah.
that again. Yeah, get to
Yeah.
Oblivion. And then
And
I suppose the last game I can remember is Damnation, which is not actually Damnation, it's called Evil West this time. But it looks like Damnation, a game that nobody apart from me remembers.
yeah, it's from Flying Wild Dog. So
But
the
why does
folks.
nobody apart from me remember Damnation, that really shit mech cowboy thing game?
Yeah, but it's an interesting one, like in the Weird West genre.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
looking
people
forward to it.
I'll
looking
play
at
Evil
pictures
West.
of Damnation, I think they intentionally blocked it from their memory.
I remember it. God, I think it was the PS3 I played it on. That was a
Yeah.
Codemasters game when they tried publishing non-racing games.
Painkiller looked better.
Yeah, well, there you
Eh.
go.
Well,
All right.
let's
I
get to the
think
big,
it's
juicy,
time,
meaty.
Yeah,
I think
it's-
that's everything from the game advertisements.
yeah, I think it's time for Night City.
Yes.
Who's going to bed? It's nice. So
We'll
yeah,
do a
before
round
we talk-
table.
I think before we talk about the game, we need to talk about the elephant in the room or the
I've lost
multiple
weight, sir.
Zoom-
Thank you.
I haven't. There's the obvious thing about the fact that CD Projekt Red tried to kill everybody with epilepsy. It's like they didn't do it intentionally, but
They're fixing that, right? Didn't they threw in a warning
fixing
and
it, but for a game that's been in development for over 7 years.
Yeah, but let me stop you right there. It wasn't. Because we all know they were working on The Witcher 3's expansions until 4
Yeah,
years ago.
I know they were doing
So
that,
it's-
but technically it was in development 7 years ago because
Yeah,
pre-production
it
is
was
development.
like 10 people probably. 7
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So, yeah, I get what you mean. The actual main core of development might have been over the past 4 to 5 years, but yeah, it's the dev cycle has been 7 years, but we'll call it 5 years for being nice then. But even at 5 years, or even at 3 years, or even at 1 year, you can't forgive anybody for using the exact same sort of scenario that doctors use to induce seizures in your game and not have a warning and not have a way of turning the fucking seizure machine off.
Look, I'm not I'm not laughing at that it happened to people. I'm laughing at that it got missed. That's what I'm laughing at. I just need to make that clear.
I don't think they did it intentionally, like some people have very idiotically stated.
No.
I think that somebody at CD Projekt Red, or maybe a whole group of people, a good 100 or a few hundred people, have all been on the meth and just completely forgot things. Keep off the drugs, children. You forget seizure machines.
So,
Fuck me, rigid.
outside of that, how has your what have you been playing it on? What hardware have you been using, and what has your experience been like with running the game and enjoying the game?
Go on, Alessio. I'll run.
I'll go
Well-
last. Kyle have to go last because he's been sitting on a copy and not actually playing it.
Yeah, yes.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm playing on 3090, so pretty much top of the line stuff, and it was a great experience for me so far. So I'd say that I didn't notice a lot of bugs, other than some minor stuff, but nothing
I have.
groundbreaking really. So it's or nothing game breaking rather. So
Nothing
that's
game breaking, but there's quite a lot of bugs.
so yeah, but I think I was able to turn pretty much everything up and still have a smooth experience, especially after I turned on the auto DLSS thing, the setting. So I think that's quite helpful in that regard. And other than that, it's really incredible at times in terms of visuals, especially with how the neon lights diffuse the lighting, especially at night, and coupled with HDR, even though it's not a great HDR implementation, but that's another topic. But other than that, it's I think it's pretty much minor debugs and some technical shortcomings that may be fixed, but the core of the game and its story so far are as great as we've all imagined. So, and hope for, because it's I mean, if you also played, I think, Kit, to Act 2, I think it's a strong start, and we've actually only just gotten to meeting Keanu proper. So it's
talk about a mind bend.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
I'm not. It happened in a way that I did not anticipate, and it was really cool.
Is he naked?
I'm not telling. That's a spoiler.
Yeah. Also, well, since you mentioned naked, it's I think the character creator is pretty good, especially when you consider that.
I found that a bit strange. I'm there selecting through the free penis sizes. I'm
careful
like,
with that.
Which size penis shall I have?
They got massage in here.
Other than that,
I didn't go for the biggest size. That's not realistic. I don't have a big penis. Well, not a massive one.
On to the next topic.
No, but the character creator is interesting. With you mentioning bugs, though, I've noticed. So I was surprised. I don't have the ray tracings and all that rubbish that you two obsess about. But when I launched the game, it's got everything on ultra. So I was like, oh, fair enough. I can play everything on ultra setting, and it plays incredibly smoothly. The bugs I've noticed though are more like I've noticed NPCs floating in midair. I've noticed items falling through the walls, NPCs falling through the walls, NPCs shooting me through the walls. In fact, the walls don't exist. I'm fairly sure this is just the Matrix because the walls do not exist. Everything goes through the fucking walls in this game.
The most interesting bug I've seen is in a cutscene with me and another character. We were carrying a box with something as the cutscene started, and after the whole scene was over and I left the room, the crate was floating right where he was holding it before the cutscene started. Like it got stuck there. Even though it came in through the cutscene and everything, the actual geometry for it was stuck in the hallway. And I just kind of looked at it and chuckled and moved on because it didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't had anything break the game yet.
I've had a few, not game breaking. I suppose technically they are game breaking. Is that I had to save and restart, but I couldn't speak to characters. Like just they were bugged. It's
that's not good.
Yeah,
let me talk to you.
I had a mission where basically I had to loot a certain NPC after defeating it to go on, but that NPC was nowhere to be found, so I had to reload and do that segment again. And
fortunately for me, every single bug I've had was easily fixed by just like escape, save, escape, load game, and literally loading where I was.
And
it's just things like that, not being able to speak to characters, things like the walls not existing in this game. And I've had a few times where my inventory would not load up. I'm like, can I change my weapons, please, game?
Yeah, no, I had that one time, so I had to run through a whole sequence just punching people in the face. I worked. I got my melee skills way up by doing that, and I was like, I got through it. So most of what I've been looking for, first off, I have been enjoying the game. I've enjoyed it more than I thought I would, because with me in RPG style games, it's hit or miss. I'm either going to really enjoy it or I'm going to get a little bit into it and just walk away from it. Admittedly, that happened to me a lot in The Witcher 3. I would get sidetracked and then I would never get back to the game, and I would find myself in the middle of a hillside going, "What was I doing again?" And I've just completely lost I just forgot where I was in the game. And but this one I've found myself getting sidetracked, but it's a lot easier for me to get back on track. I've enjoyed the dialogue. I don't know yet how much of a difference the choices that you make in dialogue actually play out, but the game will force you to make a decision real quickly. And then if you don't make a decision and it's not something that's required, they'll just go, "Hey, are you there?" And it's like, oh yeah, I'm here. But a lot of the focus that I've had outside of enjoying the game has been from a technical point of view. And I've spent a lot of time looking at the various like graphics cards it takes to get a 60 FPS hit and maintain that. And I think that's something that everybody really wanted to find out, but I think it was kind of a misplaced number, because this is the kind of game, and of course everybody's different, but this is the kind of game where if you're getting 45 plus FPS and you're staying, you're able to run it smoothly, it's fine. And I even went back, I made the argument, and I was telling you guys before we started recording that I had a conversation on Twitter the other day with somebody about last gen consoles. So I bought a copy of it for my Xbox. I've got the Series S and the 1S. And I played it on the Series S first because it downloaded quicker, and it was fine. It was running at 30 FPS, but it looked good. It didn't look like they skimped much on the graphics. Like, most of everything was there. The crowds were still there. It ran pretty smooth. Well, it ran smooth. It never really fluctuated. So I was like, okay, try it on the 1S. That's horrible. That was an absolutely horrible experience. It should not exist. Everybody keeps telling me, like, this is so bad. It looks good, though. Like, if you wanted to look at the game, it's like, oh, it looks good, but don't touch it. Like,
that's not good.
Like maybe we'll put a link down in the comment or something, but there's a video side by side I did of the 1S and the Series S, and it's just bad. It's so bad on the 1S that it makes the Series S look like it's running at 60 FPS. It's so much smoother.
What's the quality like compared to the PC?
The Series S compared to the average PC is almost indistinguishable.
But that's average. Like, looking at your PC, my PC, Alessio's PC, I mean, even I'm able to play it on Ultra. Yeah, it's not got ray tracing or whatever, but the quality is up there alongside that.
Not there, but it's close enough that if you were playing on here's the thing: if you're playing it on a $300 console,
you're fine with that.
You won't. I don't
expect it.
I don't think anybody with a Series S, a Series X, or a PS5 are going to have any complaints about the game other than like bugs they may run into.
Yeah.
But like from a performance standpoint, I think they're going to be in good shape. If you're playing it on a PS4 or an Xbox Series 1S, go jump out a window, because you'll have a better experience flying out of the window and hitting the curb than you will playing this game on the console.
Do not try it, guys.
I mean, we did know that this latest delay was because they were struggling getting the current or last gen consoles version right.
Look, I was in the debate with another YouTuber, and I thought maybe she was I knew what she was saying, because she made the statement. I can't imagine how anyone who has been waiting for this game this long and is is enthusiastic about this game would settle for playing it on an original Xbox One or a PS4.
I joined in that debate.
Yeah, Chris got in on it too, because my standpoint was like, well, if this was a fan of the game, they want to play the game. So it's either they have the option of playing it here, or waiting for because you can't just run out and buy a Series S or a Series X or a PS5. You just can't run out and do that right now.
And you can't just run out and not everybody. Well, it's not even that. You can't just run out and get one. And even if you could go out and get one, not everybody's got the money to drop on a brand new console.
Well, and if you played on PC, you can't even buy a graphics card that's going to run the game really well now because they're all out of stock all over the world.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what you can buy that runs the
Stadia.
game pretty decently. Exactly.
Google Stadia. Yeah,
No joke. I played it, and I don't know if I'll do an article. I'm not doing another video because I've kind of beaten Cyberpunk to death in video format. But I've got a little stick PC, right? It's an all-in-one. It plugs into the HDMI, and you can run GeForce Now on it, and you can play it smoothly.
Okay.
If your option right now is to play it on a series or a 1S or a PS4, I would actually recommend playing it on Stadia.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the best, but on the current.
The strange thing is, it could actually be the best because Google's machines are gonna, as long as you've got a fantastic internet connection, it is going to be the best.
That's the catch. Same thing with GeForce Now. You got to have the connection. It's a tough one. I would say if your options were to play it on a 1S or a 1 or a PS4, sit it out. And this is coming from somebody that was arguing for people who had those consoles to have been playing it. I argued on their behalf.
I agreed with you, Keith. I did agree with you. My argument was simple. Like the PS5 and the Xbox Series version of the games aren't actually out yet, and I stand by that argument.
No, they're not enhanced versions in any way. Yeah. It's the same game.
Yeah, it's visually the same game. All it is you've got the hardware to run it smoother.
Yeah.
The enhanced versions aren't out yet, so I was on the same boat as you. It's like if you want to play the game, you play it with what hardware you've got. But if it's that bad,
and I would recommend passing on it. It's and
maybe over time they will fix it enough that it runs almost decently.
I don't believe they can.
They'd have to set it to incredibly low settings. They would have to degrade the visuals so much,
and it's already running sub 720p.
I don't know. They made The Witcher 3 run on the Switch, so.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's good. They're going to have to redo the game to make it run smoothly on these older consoles. There's too much going on visually that they have to find a way to do it, and it's going to degrade the game to a point where it might as well be a handheld port.
Yeah. I do understand what you're saying about Witcher 3 on the Switch, but the difference between, I've literally only done the second mission on Cyberpunk so far. Yeah, I've played it for over 10 hours. I've just been tossing around doing all the side stuff in the first area. But even now, I already know that just from the first area, and God knows if it gets even bigger, more built up in other areas.
It does.
Where's the strip clubs, by the way?
I'll tell you.
But anyway, but no. If it gets even more built up, the difference between The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk is just that, the density. With The Witcher 3, you can pull back the draw distance and you won't really lose that much of an effect. And that's how they did it on the Switch. Whereas you can't do that with a game like Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, also The Witcher 3, at least most of The Witcher 3 isn't really based in big crowded areas.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that, of course, yeah. I mean,
it'll eventually become a different game.
To degrade that, you'd have to pull out the draw distance, you'd have to reduce the crowding. And I know there are games where you can reduce the level of pedestrians and such as that in the game, but
the problem
take away from the effect of Night City.
Well, the problem is if it was running a little slow, I would say there's hope. But we're talking about essentially a broken version of the game because it's running so slow that you can't, like when you're in your apartment and you walk out of it, you can't, it's like PowerPoint edition.
It's I think it's mostly down to the CPUs.
Well, it's a mixture of the CPUs and the storage, because
GPU,
if you
storage RAM.
It's a combination of everything, but the biggest thing is going to be your storage and your CPU, because even on the PC version, they recommend you install it on an SSD. And what the
Yeah, I've
game
done
does,
that.
well, what it's doing in the rendering
But
pipeline is it's
they
not
do
rendering
have
everything.
yeah, but they do have an option for slow hard drives actually.
Yeah,
You
yeah, you don't really
Even
need
then,
that.
I imagine
on
it's
PC.
still.
But that's what I'm saying.
not
Like they're
ideal.
already having to make a mitigation for those slow. I mean, the difference between the Series S, PS5, and the older generations is we're talking the difference between. People may get mad when I say this, but mediocre SSDs in the new consoles, and they're optimized. They're not going to blow the doors off of high end SSDs, but they're good compared to 5400 RPM spinning Rust in the old consoles.
I feel a bit
Yeah.
bad now because a friend of mine texted me to say he's bought the PS4 version.
Just now,
He texted me this morning, and obviously before I'd heard what you said about
I'm sorry. Apologize
Wait,
to
it's
him.
not me who's bought it.
Apologize to your friend now.
I will text him.
Tell him to try
yeah,
it. He may be okay with it. I know I can't recommend it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely true. So the old generation consoles don't really hold up well, and but this was something last year we were able to check the game out at E3, and then Chris and Dave as well at Gamescom, right? And
Yeah, me and Dave saw it. I think me and Rosh also saw it.
Yeah, and everyone actually, after seeing those demos, we immediately knew that those consoles were having problems.
Well, I said all along, it's like it was so blatantly everything was already pre-made, pre-decided. They gave I still remember having this discussion with you, complaining the fact that CDPR, they made the audience think like they were making a decision. They'd like say, right, which path do you want to take? Do you want to take this path or this path? And let's say the right path, over 70% voted for the right path, but CDPR would say, right, you voted for the left path. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. It's like, so I knew for a fact it's all pre-rendered. It wasn't live gameplay. The game, from what I played so far, the game is feeling great. At the same time, I've already said, same as so many games now, I'm never going to complete it. There's too much to do. I've got a daytime job. I work in a bloody prison. I've got horrible shifts. I do the writing for WCCF Tech. I play games for that, and it's like, and then I go to the gym. It's like I don't have time to play video games. What's a video game? What's time? Ah!
But there is no rule that says you have to 100% it, and
Yes, there is.
This is the game I will spend a lot of time.
I'll
never finish
I'll keep
it.
going back to it.
I'm never going to finish
I'll keep going back to it, but I don't think I'll ever finish it.
I never
For the
finished The
simple
Witcher
reason
3.
I am a completionist.
you don't have to get a platinum trophy as Kai does.
I was about to say,
I don't get
talk to Kai
anyway.
about that.
Oh, and that's another bug. Thank you, GOG. That's another bug. I'm getting no achievements for my gameplay.
I did.
I'm not.
Well, then that bug is irrelevant to me.
Kai,
I don't care. It's irrelevant to you.
Tell us something,
Yes, sir.
Kai.
I am gonna just wait for the PS5 native version. Like after seeing the Digital Foundry footage with the car chase sequence, like looking at that even on PS4 just makes my head hurt.
To be fair, Kai, I do need you to try it on the PS4. You did get a copy from me, so I do want you to try it on the PS4 just to tell me how bad it is.
Kai.
But I have a PS4 Pro, so it'll be an okay version. Like I don't have the base PS4
then that's fine.
I think actually Digital Foundry put up a video maybe yesterday where they basically checked out the PS5 and Xbox Series performance, and they said it was night and day compared to original PS4 and Xbox One S. So I think
of course.
you can still play it on the PS5. Of course, it will be better when they fully enhance it, but you can play DLCs fully enhanced.
I'm hoping.
If those even come out within a year, like they haven't even talked about what the multiplayer or season pass stuff is yet.
No.
Well, they've released one piece of DLC for Forza.
It's true.
Have they?
Yeah, you can get the car, the VTEC thing, and Forza.
I don't care.
Yeah, if we want to talk about other than performance issues on consoles, I think in terms of vehicles and the handling, it's obviously not quite as good as something like Grand Theft Auto, I think.
The vehicles, if you're on PC, grab your controller.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
The driving is the driving is fine if you're using a controller. If you use mouse and keyboard, you look like your drunk
passable.
uncle.
Yeah, it's passable. It's barely passable.
Yeah,
it's so very
bad.
blocky. But to be fair, driving on mouse and keyboard has always been bad.
It has.
In every game I've ever played,
this is one of the worst.
Driving on mouse and keyboard has always been crap.
This has been one of the worst experiences I've had with driving with a keyboard, because a lot of games I can, especially because this game doesn't focus on the driving mechanics. You really just use your car to get around, from to point A, point B pretty quickly. But it's so bad that like I've said, there was a place that was like a kilometer away, and I was like, I think I'll just walk.
I think the last game I played, the last racing driving game I played on mouse and keyboard was Geoff Cramon's Grand Prix 2. So it's probably from a few years back. But
I mean, the game's too big to. The game's too big to know exactly what's going to happen so far. There's too much to check out. It's like there's going to be so many secrets and little bits hidden about, and that's the problem with me. I'm an explorer when it comes to video games. It's like I already want to go. Like I'm pissed off that areas are blocked off, and I'm just like, there's so much of the city. I want to go into the Badlands. The little, what is it? I'm one of those bikers from the desert.
Outskirts, yeah.
I want to go there, but in fact, that irritated me. And again, just a slight irritation. It's just a slight irritation, but where in GTA, and GTA has managed this for over a decade now, the other areas are blocked off by having police there, or by giving you a wanted level if you've gone past whatever invisible barrier. I tried driving somewhere in this, and the game just went, "You're not allowed to go there yet." It literally just cyberpunked me. It's like, just glitch your screen. Yeah, this area is not available yet. Don't get fucked. You're meant to be an open world game in 2020. At least put a cop there saying, "No, don't go there. Don't be like that."
Artificial walls.
Don't invisible wall me.
Well, guys, is there any last wrap ups as we run short on our time now?
Running out of whiskey.
Lord.
No, something that's interesting is that there seems to be already a modding scene on PC.
Oh yeah, that didn't take long.
Yeah, it will. It never does with the big games.
There's quite a bit of interesting stuff. For example, some people don't like the TAA implementation and they want to remove it. So there is a way to remove TAA with mods, but also changes to the control systems. For example, on PC by default you cannot walk with the mouse and keyboard, right? So they added a dedicated button for walking.
Okay. I can go with that.
And also something that's interesting that I noticed, probably Kit, you noticed it as well, is that even with ray tracing on, your character is not reflected other than mirrors. But
I am not happy about that.
And
I wouldn't notice that, would I?
And basically, there is a mod that was uploaded today, actually, that enables that. But when it does, basically your character is reflected, but it doesn't have a head. So that's probably why they didn't.
Another
have
bug.
It.
You just reminded
That's a
me
feature.
of another...
That's a feature.
No, you've just reminded me of another bug. Whenever you're looking at the mirror, go to any mirror if you're wearing a hat. You can't see the hat, and your character's bald.
That's funny. I have to try that because I'm wearing a hat. Only because it gives you, defense points.
Yeah, that's the only reason I wear a hat. I want to hide the hat because I've got stylish hair. But no, I look in the mirror and I've got a bald, hatless cretin.
I think that happened to me once, but not other times. So I think it's random.
Genuinely, look in the mirror. If you're wearing a hat, look in a mirror.
I'll do that. Well, guys, is there anything
There's one
else?
in your apartment.
You have anything important, Chris? Or are you just going to complain about your big bald head?
I have luscious, lovely hair. Thank you.
Uh,
No, it's looking good so far. I don't know if I'll get to play it. I'm already going to have to play a different game. I say going to have to. I'm already going to be playing a different game which you've tried out, Medal of Honor, the new VR game.
Yeah.
172 gigabyte download.
I'm going to give you a warning before you get into there. Have about 30 minutes to go through the opening sequence where you select all of your controls and everything, and then take you a break because you'll be so sick of it at that point. I will say there's a really fun thing to do in it, and you're probably gonna do it. So your hands are kind of floating in the game, but you can see up to here on your hands.
Okay.
In that opening sequence where you're stuck in a spot, if you step over, you can move your head off of the body. The body doesn't come with you, and then you can stick your hand where the head would be, and you can make your hand talk. It's probably the most fun I've had with a VR game in since Half-Life Alyx. And I was just sitting there, and they were like, "Give me a thumbs up," and it's you'll know what I'm talking about when you play it. I don't have a whole lot else to say about the game other than it looks way better in game than it does in screenshots. So
well, there's a multiplayer mode, so I do want to play that with you, Keith.
That would be fun.
Fun.
You don't sound convinced. You haven't played it yet. You played the tutorial, haven't you? That's it.
Correct. That's all I've played. So,
well, there you go.
I do know that aiming down a gun, you'll see what I mean when you play it.
Okay, yeah. I'll be reviewing it when I finally get the chance. It's just work.
VR games, VR shooters work best with pistols. I'll put it that way.
I know that from experience on different games.
Yeah.
ADS is terrible. On
It's
long
just
guns.
it's just
you like this.
Yep.
It's if they made like an attachment, something to hold your hands in the right place. It's very interactive. Like they did a really good job with like the interaction stuff. You know what? We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, next week when we've both had a chance to play it more.
Right. All right. Has anybody got else? One last thing before we cut this one off, just short of 1
Anything,
hour.
Kai?
You guys make me want to go play Firewall again on PSVR, so maybe I'll go try that out this week.
Should play Cyberpunk, punk.
You feel lucky, punk?
I don't have anything else.
Wake up, samurai.
Ooh.
Mm.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I'll just go back to Keanu.
There you go.
And okay.
All right, guys. It's been real. We'll catch you in the next one.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Take care.